In recent years, businesses that rely on overland shipping have seen a steady climb in freight costs that are consistently outpacing price expectations that are normally seen during an economic surge. Now, in reality, every part of the economy relies on trucking. The American Trucking Association estimates that 70% of all North American freight tonnage is moved on trucks. Now, in fresh produce, an industry dealing with very little margin for delays and no margin for error, the current freight challenge is a bit more pronounced. Now, we spent time looking at these issues, talking to those in the supply chain, and finding out ways that leaders in our industry are working to mitigate the rising costs of freight. With an estimated 3.6 million heavy-duty Class 8 trucks on the road annually and 3.5 million drivers, trucking is a vital part of our economy, an economy that is demanding more freight than ever.
The economy is the main factor here right now. With supply and demand, there's just so much product being moved across the U.S., there's not enough trucks to move it. And that's causing the freight rates to go up right now.
It's definitely a seller's market for those truckers, and they can pick and choose which loads they want.
The demand for trucking to move all kinds of product across North America has led to bidding wars for shipping contracts as every business sector is seeing a surge in orders. This all happening while the supply of freight has been steadily dwindling in alarming numbers for the past decade. Now that's because younger workers are choosing other careers over the difficult life of a long-haul trucker, and good jobs, they are readily available.
I think you're seeing a lot of the older generation probably retiring at this time, and so who's going to be filling those shoes? It's been a challenge for these trucking companies. I think there's definitely less trucks out there. Well, we sure feel it here right now.
Well, and it's even a deeper issue because there's fewer and fewer younger generation wanting to enter into the driving profession.
The driver shortage has become a bigger issue in our industry as recent implementations of federal regulations makes driving for fresh produce less profitable. On December 18, 2017, the U.S. Department of Transportation began the compliance phase of their mandate to track drive time through an electronic device in trucks. This resulting in longer total trip times, but less pay. So drivers like David Hansen are paid by the mile, even though their logging device begins tracking during the loading or even waiting to load phase.
We can't expect our driver to keep operating and doing what they've been doing for less money.
Well, e-logging doesn't change the law on how many hours a truck driver can actually drive, but what it does change is how they record those hours. Instead of using a pen and paper like in the past, they now use an electronic system like this one. So once you press on duty, the clock is ticking.
Once that clock starts, then it's a race against time.
That means when truck drivers arrive at shipping facilities and are forced to wait for the product to be loaded, the clock is ticking and they aren't making a dent in their necessary mileage to complete a trip. Now, in fresh produce, timing is everything. Product is being harvested, cooled, and packed hours earlier, so adding time to the journey decreases a product's shelf life.
So that means that a one-day trip would become two, and how does that affect the product, first of all, and second, how does it affect the marketplace and getting the product to the market? So if we extend it by another day or two on those delivery times, then that's adding more costs to the system.
Growers like D'Arrigo Brothers and Mission Produce are doing what they can to decrease that wait time.
We've looked at our commodity management standpoint of can we hold more product in the cold box so trucks can show up here earlier in the morning so we can get them on the road. We've looked at consolidation and cross-docking where we bring other people's product over to our facility and we're loading two different products on one truck, so that allows the truck to come to one location and get the product out on the road as quick as possible.
We schedule loads, full truck loads to be exact, with shipping and delivering times. The product is staged and ready to go the day prior. If that product is not ready to load the day prior, we notify customers and our transportation companies that they may need to come in a little bit later.
The goal is to cut down on these wait times, get the truck drivers on the road quicker, and minimize costs throughout the supply chain. For many in the industry, that means consolidation of product to one location and more efficient scheduling.
Consolidation, instead of having like 5 picks in the Los Angeles area, a lot of the shippers will take all that product and we can have them move them to one facility. and now that way you only have one pick.
Whether consolidating trips or being innovative with loading, scheduling, and labor solutions, the whole industry is rethinking how they do business.
I think as a shipper, as a wholesaler, a retailer, a restaurant, I think we are all doing what we can to minimize those added costs to the consumer.
While shipping costs tend to fluctuate, those that we spoke to, while unwilling to provide certainty in their predictions, shared a common concern that we would not see a return to costs from even recent years. These costs get shared along the supply chain as growers, shippers, distributors, and customers are seeing prices rise in every component of freight.
The expectation is things are going to be more expensive. We're trying to mitigate the expenses, right? Obviously the increases in cost, but it is there.
At ProAct, we're working to better understand these pressures. We are collaborating on solutions with suppliers on scheduling, and we're also consolidating loads to cut down on the amount of stops that a truck has to make before hitting the road. Our goal is to minimize cost impacts all along the supply chain. If you have any questions or concerns that we can address, please reach out to us at ProAct.